If you guys don't know me, hi, my name is Rock. I am the intern pastor here for the summer, and I have, unfortunately, about a week left. Next week is my last Sabbath, but I'm so glad that I'm here with you guys today. It's been so special, like genuinely, you guys have been so good and so amazing. One of the best things about this church, and the best things about this past week also, was the food. Right? There wasn't a single time this past week where we were hungry, where we were starving. Thank you to all the parents and all the donations from Eastside and Rock. Thank you guys so much. You guys have fed the kids so well. I heard maybe like one small complaint, but then 5 minutes later, we ate like really good food. And so it was amazing, and I loved it. And I'm a big foodie, and so my schedule in Google Calendars is like based on my meals. Right? So I have a blank slate, right, on Google Calendar that you can just manage it, imagine that. And I go, okay, 8, 12, 6. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. All right, so what can I do between those times, between those two meals, right? My schedule starts on food, and the first thing that I put on is food, and I kind of plan it. Even when I was planning this past week for Art of Worship, I was thinking, okay, this is the time we eat. All right, how many practices can we get into? 5 hours a day? That's plenty of time. Let's do it, right? Food, I love food, and I hate feeling starved, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys, we got some biggie bags here at this church. The feeling of being starved, it just hurts, and it grumbles, and like your stomach turns, and it's just like, oh, that hurts, when we don't like it. And what I do is I start shutting down. I can feel my body slowly putting me in a place where I don't have to spend too much energy. I'm a big introvert, and so whenever I get hungry, I just completely shut down and hide away. And my friends make fun of me for it, and they complain all the time because it's pretty obvious, right? You guys will know when I'm hungry. Fortunately, you guys haven't seen it because I've been being fed so well. But when I do get hungry, I curl up and I be quiet and I stare into the sky, thinking of nothing, right? Because I get so hungry and I'm craving something. Humans, overall, in general, have the desire and need to be filled. We have the need to eat. We have the need to drink. We get thirsty. We get hungry, right? Every single day, we need air to breathe. We need to be filled with something. And we're always consuming something in our lives, whether that's food, water, the air, minds with knowledge. The kids go to school and they're filling their minds with knowledge, right? Our very soul, our being, doesn't do well in states of emptiness. And in our society today, we find that there's so many people who don't seem to be fulfilled in their lives. There's always this emptiness, and there's oh, I feel like I should be doing something. There's no meaning. And there's so many ways, things that Satan tells us that can fulfill us, right? There's so many ways that can't seem to feel satisfied. From the rich who want to get richer, from the poor who just can't feed, from the middle class who just can't seem to go up that financial ladder, right? Everyone wants to fill themselves with something. Everyone wants to satiate their emptiness. Let's pray. God, we come to the altar for you because we know who you are. You're great, you are loving. As we talk about this emptiness, this unsatisfaction that we have in our lives, continue to fill us up. And I hope that today, not just at church, but as they leave today, as they spend the rest of the day at Sabbath, they are filled with your Spirit. They are filled with the love that they feel around them. We love you, and I pray, amen. So I have this unique opportunity today and next week. I'm also preaching next week. I'm preaching right now, and so I was like, oh, let me try to do a two-part sermon, right? And so the two-part sermon are going to focus on 2 verses, and this is a title that I gave, Giving Our All. It's a Rock mini-series. I didn't make that, Pastor Chris did. And if you read, it's actually my name. It's not ROC. And so, yeah, we're talking about giving our all, and it comes from Romans 12, verses 1 to 2. And so we're just going to look at verse 1, and it says, "And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind he will find acceptable. This is a truly way to worship him." My version in the NIV says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." I mentioned that humans love being filled. And in the same way, the human brain loves being stimulated. And that's why our phones are so addicting, right? That short, instant gratification of like that video. And in Gen Z terms, it's called brain rot. And the reason why it's called brain rot is because it acts like it's giving you information. It's like 30 seconds. There's not much things that you can say in 30 seconds, but like it's so much stuff within the 30 seconds that you feel like you're consuming knowledge. You can feel like consuming something, and it feels good. But then the 30 seconds ends, and then you're like, oh, I want more. What is this? And so you keep scrolling, and you keep scrolling. 30 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by, and then the next thing you know, it's 3 a.m., and you have to wake up the next day, right? Horrible. And as a kid, when you're learning so much, that's why it's really dangerous, because it's like, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. And it's not just the phones that give us this false sense of fulfillment. There's so many substances in our world and so many things in our world that we can take that will offer a fake version of satisfaction. There are ways the devil brings into our lives that we think are going to fulfill us, when in reality, it actually just leaves you emptier than before. Back in the beginning of the world, in the Garden of Eden, when we read about Genesis, we read about a perfect creation, right? And God's walking with Adam and Eve, he's communing with them, and he's talking to them. But in Genesis 3, we read an interaction between the serpent and Eve. It reads, "Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, 'Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?' The woman said to the serpent, 'We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden.' But did God say, 'You must not eat from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die?' 'You will certainly not die,' the serpent said to the woman." If we continue, the story says, "You will certainly not die, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and he says that you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The serpent tells Eve this, you will be like God, your eyes will be open, you will see so many more things. He's saying, hey, if you eat from that tree that God told you not to eat about, if you take that and you consume it, you will become like him. You will become like God. Pretty much implying that God is not enough. What you have with God, that relationship that you have with God right now, Eve, that's not enough. That's not enough for you. Hey, you can be like God. If you take this tree, you can have even more than what you have. You're not fulfilled right now. You can have so much more, and God's just limiting you. He's not filling you completely. And similarly, these things of this world, the earthly things, they do the same thing. That strong itch of wanting to look at your phone, that's a hunger. That's this crave, right? Hunger for whatever's looking at your phone. As a youth myself, not too long ago, I've always wanted to do something that fulfills my life. That's pretty much everyone, right? Everyone wants to do something that fulfills my life, that has meaning, that we can do something. Okay, we did something. We did something that means something to the world. We accomplished something, right? But I was at a time where, because I didn't know myself, I didn't have much self-worth at all. And this lack of self-worth made me feel empty. And I didn't know what I wanted or needed for myself. And this emptiness led me to a search, right? When you're craving something, when you're craving food, you naturally go to the fridge and you open the door, right? Oh, I don't see anything. You close it, and then you open it right back up, thinking that new food is just gonna pop up, right? And then you close it. All right, there's nothing in there. All right, let me check the freezer. You open it, there's nothing in there. You close it. You open it back up, oh, there's still nothing in there. And you close it, right? And you go to the cabinet, oh, there's nothing in there. And you close the door. You walk 2 steps, oh, let me check again. Open it, oh, there's nothing in there, right? This craving, you always want to come back. And so I was in this search of trying to fill this emptiness. And what I eventually landed on is that I thought what would give me satisfaction, what would fulfill me, is if I got worth from others, if I got applause, if I got attention. It temporarily fed that emptiness that I had. And it was like, yes, you want this. This feels good. The attention that you're getting, the laughs, people laughing at your jokes, oh, that feels so good, doesn't it? You should get more of that. You should get more of that. You should make people happier, right? And it's a good thing because you're making people laugh. It's not about you. It's about them. But the more I began to act in ways that I thought would give me more attention, the more attention I got, without me even knowing, my pride started to grow. This self-worth, this self-glorification, the pride that started to grow. And the thing about pride is it's like drugs. It's never enough, right? After every hit, I desired more and thought about my next hit. I thought about ways where I could receive another compliment, another attention, another applause. It's like this unending cycle of you're not enough, never being fulfilled, and never being satisfied. So you're in this search, and you keep getting what you get because it's giving you short gratification, instant gratification. The more you get, the more you want. And the more you want, the bigger your pride grows. Proverbs 16:18 says that pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. In fact, pride is so destructive that in the next verse, verse 19, it says, it is better to be lowly in spirit along with the oppressed than to share the plunder with the pride. It's better to be oppressed than to be prideful, right? That's what pride is. A fall, right? It's better to a haughty spirit. Verse 18 says a haughty spirit before a fall. We talked about Genesis 3, which is the fall of man. But I also want to talk about a different fall, a fall that happened before the fall of man, something that happened in heaven. Isaiah 14:12 describes someone who fell from heaven, right? And so let's read it together. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once lay low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. That's the same thing that he said to Eve. You will be like God. If you eat this tree, you will be like God. And he told himself in heaven, hey, I'm better than this. I can be like God. I can be more than God. God wasn't enough. Being in direct communion with him isn't enough. And this morning star that we're talking about, if you guys don't know, is Lucifer. And Lucifer, who was this amazing, glorious angel, one of the best angels, right? He's such a high rank. He was one of the closest angels directly to God. He said, that closeness, that's not enough. I want to be like him. God's not enough. I want to be like him. I want to satiate this emptiness that I've thought I filled myself with. I've emptied myself with. And so eventually, he gets cast out of heaven because this pride grows and he starts rebellion in heaven and all the fallen angels fall. And for me, what began as a desire to change lives through different stories, right? I've always been fascinated about stories and telling stories. It became about proving to others how great I am. It became about me, a sort of coping mechanism to the realization that I am not enough, so I must find ways to make myself enough. And the search to fill an emptiness, a desire to be fulfilled in my life, continued all the way into college. And at Andrews, this is where I kind of stepped up. Stepping up means like leadership is cool, and I'm going to get so much clout from this, and so I'm going to do it, right? Stepped up a bunch of different positions. I thought that these positions would fill that gap, that emptiness that I felt I had in my entire life. I told myself that the power and responsibility that these leadership positions that I'm gonna hold would fill my life with purpose, which in turn will make my life be fulfilling. But no matter how many student positions I filled, it was never enough. In fact, no matter how much I took, I would volunteer, no matter how much I did things, my searching for that cheer of others was not enough. I wanted more and more and more. I never felt satisfied. And it was so much, in fact, that all it left me was all these positions. It just left me overworked and burnt out and tired. And I didn't want to do anything with anyone else because I was so tired. I didn't want to do anything, right? I had closed myself off because I was so tired because I wanted something in this endless cycle of like, oh, I want to do something for other people, but then it's like, it feels so good, but it's too much, so I'm going to stop. But oh, I want more, so I keep doing it and I keep doing it and I keep doing it. But in this time, amazingly, God, with his amazing mercy, like we read in Romans chapter 12, verse 1, he said he was still reaching out and he was still talking to me. And he did this through people around me, my friends, mentors, and family. And this is where the story of my calling comes in. I realize that I haven't told you guys why I'm here as an intern pastor, why I'm doing this. And so here's a story. So 2023 PUC during camp meeting, I was minding my own business, blah, blah, blah. I was a small group leader for high school, and I was just walking around. It was late time, and so I was walking. I was at Andre, and I was walking to Daphne Chapel under that balcony thing, and so I was walking, minding my own business, not thinking about anything. And then P. John, out of all people, he's like sitting kind of with Pastor Tim from Glendale, and P. John screams out these exact words. He says, "Hey, Rock." Wait, sorry, that's not what P. John sounds like. "Hey, Rock, have you thought about ministry? Right? Have you thought about being a pastor?" Like with this hand motion. "Have you thought about being a pastor, Rock?" He does that a lot, right? "Have you thought?" And this was the first time someone other than my mom had actually talked to me about this. And my mom has been bothering me about it for so long. And I remember it's because back in first grade, I thought being a pastor was so cool. I was like, oh, I want to be a pastor. And like the Sabbath schools that they taught, it was so entertaining, it was so funny, it was so good. I was like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to tell stories, I want to do that. And that's where my love for stories started, right? But I was like, no, not really. But my mom has been talking to me about it a lot more recently. And he was like, hey, that could actually be a sign to call ministry. And I looked at him and I was like, bro, who are you? Bro, I don't even know you. This is my third time seeing him ever in my entire life. This is my first actual conversation with him. I'm like, bro, who are you? You don't know me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, whatever, dude. And I just kept walking. I just kept living with my life, right? I just kept continuing how I was living with my life. And so I moved on, and the week passed, and I had another interaction. And I kind of knew him, I kind of didn't. I didn't really talk to him that much. And so it was the last night of camp meeting, 2023 camp meeting, and I was walking behind Graph Hall. If you guys know where that is, I was walking behind Graph Hall. It was really dark, and I see this figure walking towards me. So he was coming towards me, and I was walking this way to Daphne Chapel. And so as I was walking, I see him, and I get this tickle in my stomach. I was like, oh, this guy is going to talk about the same thing that P. Jen just talked to me about 2 days ago. And so I was like, okay. I kind of know him. He kind of seems chill. He kind of seems okay. Maybe I can like kind of jokingly push it off if he asks me about it. So I'll do that. And I was thinking all of that in like 2 seconds, right? Because he was walking pretty fast. He was a fast walker for some reason. And so I was walking, and then this figure goes, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And before he could even finish that sentence, I go, no. Right? And I walk away. I didn't even look at him. I didn't even look at this person. I went, no, and I immediately walked away, right? And I talked about it afterwards, and apparently they were like, what? And he kept walking away. But that was like the first thing that I said to this person. Right? I was like, no, I don't want to think about it. I want to talk to you. And this person, this figure that was walking towards me, you guys actually know him pretty well. It's Pastor Chris. That was our first interaction. That was our very, very first interaction that I've had. Hey, can I talk to you about? No! I walked away, and we didn't see each other for a whole year. A whole year until the next camp meeting. And so after that, right, let me put his face away. You guys don't want to look at that. After that, I kept living with my life, right? After camp meeting ended, I went back to school. But the conversations and the ideas of me going to ministry just kept happening. And it popped up more and more, and I just ignored it every single time, and I pushed it every single time. Eventually, in the 23-24 school year, it got so much and it got so bad that I eventually was like, oh, maybe I should talk to someone. And so Pastor Eden, which is kind of funny, all three pastors in this story were here. You guys all know him pretty well. I don't know how that worked out, but I was like, wait, you guys know Peden. And so Pastor Eden was coming to visit Andrews, and I was like, hey, can I talk to you? And he was like, yeah, of course. And I talked to him about the signs, and I asked him, what are some of the signs that I can think about when I go into pastoral ministry? And I learned 4 ways. Here are the 4 ways. Human affirmation, so others telling you, right, your ability, so you being good at the aspects of what the work entails, and you enjoying it. God telling you, God's affirmation, and then self-affirmation, you being able to accept the calling yourself. Right? So those are the 4 things. And I had picked off 2 of them, the first 2. Human affirmation, I had already been getting a bunch of people telling me, hey, have you thought about being in ministry? Hey, have you thought about being in ministry? Hey, have you thought about being a pastor? I feel like you'll be good, blah, 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 blah. Your ability is, I like going to church. I really enjoyed it. I genuinely did. And I love volunteering. I love the summer programs. I love camp meeting. And it was so fun. And I would dance for VBS. I was a praise leader myself in high school. It was terrible. Don't look at the videos. But I did this. I loved it. And so I was like, okay, that's 2. Well, I got 2 more. I'm halfway there. We'll see. And so March came around, and I was driving back to Andrews, and my friend and I started talking about student missions because he was kind of thinking about it. And we were talking about the calling, being called to go out for a year, and the signs of what a calling is to become a missionary because he was thinking about it. He was seriously considering it. And in my head, I was having a conversation, but in my head, but to myself, I was kind of like thinking about the tickles that I've had about going to pastoral ministry. And I literally, out of nowhere, just completely randomly, I was like, God, hey, give me a sign. Right now, give me a sign. Within the next 5 minutes, give me a sign. And before I could even finish that thought, right, it's a thought, so it's quick. It's quicker than a finger snap. That thought, before I could finish it, my friend goes, have you thought about being a pastor? I feel like you'd be really good. I feel like you have a lot to say. And apparently I was yapping a lot. But that was the third sign. If we look back, that was the third sign because that was a wake-up call. That was the first time that I actually heard God speak to me directly through someone else. It was crazy. It was amazing. It was my friend's voice, but I felt God talking to me. It was weird. And it was so crazy that I actually almost lost control of the steering wheel. I was like, oh, right? I was like, what just happened? There's no way that just happened. There's no way I thought of that. Before I could finish it, God answered my prayer. Right? I was so in shock about what had just happened, but me being prideful, me being the unwilling, selfish, and stubborn self, I ignored it, and again, for the third time, I continued living my life. And so eventually, 2 weeks later, it's about April now, 2024, and God came around and so I was like, all right, you want to ignore me? You don't want to listen to me? Here's exactly what's going to happen in your life if you do not ignore me. And I got really sick that day. It was really bad. It was like the flu. I was like, my body was deteriorating. I was having stomach aches, diarrhea. I was coughing. I couldn't breathe, right? And this came at a time where I was super, super busy. I was the president of CASA, the Korean club at Andrews. And so we had this big cultural event 2 weeks happening. It was this huge event, a couple hundred people who would join, and there was 9 cultural clubs, and I was one of the cultural clubs. And so I was busy. I was doing 2-hour dance practices. I was teaching dance practices myself with a mask, with an N95 mask, that is too. Super, super sick. I was like, okay guys, you're gonna do this. All right, that beat, you're gonna move your hands like this. And for 2 hours, 3 times a week for 2 weeks straight. My body wasn't just physically sick, but my spirit felt sick. I had nothing left in me. I was completely drained. I was burnt out. I felt completely lost, and I felt completely empty. I was having anxiety attacks every night for those 2 weeks. I was shaking, I was sweating, my hands couldn't stay still. I couldn't type, I couldn't do my homework, I couldn't do my lab reports. And it started getting really, really hard to breathe every single night. And I was like, bro, dude, what is this? What is happening? My body just can't seem to hold itself together. My mind was in a constant state of confusion, and my spirit was completely empty. Not only had my seek for self-adoration left me feeling more and more empty, I had begun to think of myself as so smart that I was actually ignoring. I realized that I was ignoring God's voice. My pride had grown so much that I was completely disengaged with God, what God was trying to tell me. And God, being the loving God, He allowed me to choose my own path and follow my own will. And what did that lead to? Complete destruction of my entire being. So there I was, body breaking, mind falling apart, spirit slowly consumed by emptiness. And I had completely destroyed my own body. James 1:14-15 says, "But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death." That's what happened. That's exactly what happened to me. I had consumed my own sin, and that led me to a point of destruction. That's what the worldly things does, right? When you continue to try to consume yourself with these toxins, the things of this world, these earthly things, the only thing that leads to is destruction, is death. Okay, and so I was like, okay, God, wait. Now hold on. Right? I was not expecting this. Why am I feeling nothing? And why does feeling nothing hurt so much? I thought that was why does feeling nothing? I should be able to feel nothing, but why am I in so much pain because I have nothing? And in that moment, that was the moment, because of that pain, that was the moment that I actually realized, oh, I am empty. I didn't realize it before, but oh, I'm empty. I don't have anything right now going on for my life. God had allowed my very being to become absolutely nothing, in the negatives, to be completely empty. I'm saying the word empty a lot, but I'm trying to emphasize so that He could show that He could be the only one to fill me back up. right? That he is the only one that can restart my heart, that can restart my spirit. He is the only one who is worthy of filling our cups. Going back to Romans 12:1, our passage for today says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters," and this is the NIV that I'm reading right now, "in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifice." I made a lot of mistakes. And if you listen back, I said I continue living my life. This happened, but I continue living my life. Oh, God talked to me, but I continue living my life. I had failed and tried to push God so far away. But God's mercy never fails, right? God allowed me to break myself apart and left me, my spirit, to dwindle down into nothing and body breaking to nothing, to the point where the only place that it made sense for me to go was right there at his feet. Stumbling, crying, breaking apart, falling apart, feeling absolutely nothing, feeling complete emptiness, a complete surrender at his feet. This is a posture of a worshiper. This is a posture of worship. And we talked about this during this past week of Art of Worship, right? Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your proper worship. This complete surrender, this stumbling on the floor and saying, I am nothing. A sacrifice. You're giving your life as sacrifice. God had broken me down to come down at his feet. He allowed what I wanted to happen because that's when I could realize that all I could do was just completely fall apart if it wasn't for him. In Psalms chapter 42, it says, "As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for my God." I was panting. It was more than panting. I was pretty much on the brink of death, right? I felt like it. I wasn't actually dying, but I felt like it. It was horrible. My spirit was dead. I was heaving, I was panting, and I was dry to be filled with God. I had to fully give my broken self and ask God to help me. In cartoons, when a cartoon character gets really hungry, what do when they see a body of water? Do they softly come up and scoop the water and no, they jump in, right? They're like, oh, that's water. And so they run over and they jump in, they put their entire bodies in, right? They completely submerge themselves, they completely submit themselves to the water and completely cover themselves, right? This is the posture of worship. The posture of worship is an act of submission. Because giving everything means being a living sacrifice. And a sacrifice doesn't try to stand up next to a sacrificer, right? If you were trying to, let's say you were sacrificing a lamb, and that lamb was fighting you, what would you do? You're like, no, stop. You're just gonna die. Stop fighting, right? A sacrificial lamb does not fight the sacrificer. It accepts the outcome. It bows and accepts what's going to happen to it. And this is what we should do. We should fall at his feet, kneel down, and ask him to fill you. Give yourself up as a sacrifice. Bow down, surrender to him. Lay at his feet. And because God is merciful, he will fulfill that emptiness you feel. He will do it. He promised it. God is a merciful God. God is a forgiving God. God is a forever God. He will not change because he is an always God, right? So to finish my story, after I had laid at his feet, it took me a couple months to kind of get back up. But last year's camp meeting, this is almost exactly a year ago, 2024 camp meeting. I asked God to give me one more piece of evidence, just one more, God, just one irrefutable sign that I was like, oh, that's you. And so it's the last night of camp meeting, right? Again, last night. And I was taking a picture for one of the small groups. I was a high school small group coordinator at the time, so I didn't really know. I didn't get time with the kids. But they asked me to take a picture. I was like, okay, I'll take a picture. I took the picture, snapped the shot, and I handed the camera back over. And I was walking over, and it was dark. It was like Garden Cafe, Saturday night. And I was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. So I was walking to the bathroom up that ramp. Handed that over, and it was dark. And a kid goes, thank you, Pastor Rock. Right? And so for you guys, Pastor Rock, it's pretty normal. You've been calling me that for the past 6-7 weeks. But to me, that was the first time I got called Pastor Rock. That was the very first time. And this kid, I don't know this kid. Maybe he knows me pretty well, but I have no idea to this day who this kid was, right? This kid who doesn't know me, I didn't have a direct communication with him because I was a coordinator. I wasn't a leader. I wasn't directly with the kids, right? This kid randomly gets the camera and goes, thank you, Pastor Rock. And I was like, oh, that's a sign. Oh. That's the sign. Of course it's the last night. Of course it's the last night of camp meeting. He made me wait all this week. Of course he gives me a sign that last week. It was so awkward to hear that. You know, try to put the word pastor in front of your name for the first time. It's different, right? It's different. It's a little less weird now, but back then it was a big deal, right? And the thing is, I hadn't done anything with the youth kids, and my thoughts and I didn't share any of this, by the way. Like, no one knew this. I didn't share any of this calling story, what I was thinking, to any of the kids, especially the youth kids. But he still called me Pastor Rock. And I was like, oh, there's only one way. There's only one reason why he called me that, is because God told him to. Because God impressed it in his heart. It could have only been God that had the kid call me Pastor Rock, and I was like, dang it, darn. That's a sign. Never give God an ultimatum, guys. He'll always fulfill the ultimatum. So when that happened, kind of like poetry, God led me to the person who I had ignored exactly 1 year ago. And I'm going to pull up his picture one more time. I'll keep it up for a little longer, just so you know. This is the person who I was talking to, all right? This is the person. You guys know him as Pastor Chris, all right? He's a pastor of a great church. So exactly a year later, after I had completely ignored him and went, no, and I went back, God led me straight to him. So I went to the bathroom and I walked out the other door, and I walked into Garden Cafe at the stairs. And the first person I see is like this dude with like insane calves, big arms, kind of hunched over, and he's doing something, and he's talking to like Ed. I think he was talking to Ed, right? I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll talk to him. Fine, I'll go up to him. And in a moment of slight shame, a little embarrassment, I walk up to him, and he's busy, right? You guys, Rock Church hosted camp meetings, so this guy's a busy man. I didn't want to bother him. He's like doing stuff, and I catch him like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Just a quick second. He's like, oh yeah, sure. And we walk out, and then we talk for like an hour and a half, and I explain everything, right? And the rest is history. Here I am, exactly a year later, after I talked to him, 2 years after I completely ignored him, working for this man, right? It's kind of weird, but it's good, right? I'm enjoying it. And today, I'm so happy with my life. After everything that's happened in my life, the way things went, the way things have just perfectly lined up for me so well, could have only been because God took me, and he took my sacrifice, and he took what nothing I had at his feet, and he lifted it up, and he filled me, and he gave me something to have. Something that made me happy. I've never been happier in my life right now with you guys, genuinely. I have one more week here, and I'm not gonna waste it. I promise I'm not gonna waste this last week. And I didn't think I'd be this fulfilled by the end of this week. I had just graduated college and I had a year left, and I was like, I don't want to leave home again. I just came back, I just finished. Why am I leaving again, right? But now I'm like, hey, maybe I should stay for a little longer. Maybe I should have came back a little earlier. Maybe I should have stayed a little longer, right? God worked in so many incredible ways through each of you guys, through each one of you, through the youth, through the parents, through the workers, through the people who helped. I've never been more confident in my life about my decision to be all with God, to give my all to God. I've never been more confident about it. And to worship him with my life, with everything I do, right? Everything that a pastor does is so that he can worship God. It's so that others can worship God. And that's for me, that's what that means. That's how I wanted to give my all. I said, hey, take me. I want to end with one more experience. You guys kind of see this stuff, right? So let's make sure I don't. I have a jar here. It's an empty jar. This is Helen and Elliot's jar. I'm staying at their house, by the way, and I didn't ask them if I could borrow this. Oh, I promise I promise I'll clean this. Okay, I promise. I'll keep it nice. Keep it nice. All right, I won't break it. All right. All right, no one tell them. All right, they'll figure it out themselves. All right. This is water. This is really heavy. There's a bunch of water in it. Right, and in here is rocks. Now, where did I get this? Elliot's and Helen's. Just picked it up in the morning. Didn't tell them again. I'll put it back, I promise. I'll clean them, okay? They'll be clean, I'll put it back on the floor, exactly where I found them. But all right, I have these rocks. And, here. And these rocks, they're gonna represent the world. They're going to represent the things that you do, the earthly things, the worldly things that the Bible talks about. They're going to talk about your school. They're going to talk about your stress. They're going to talk about the substances, the TikTok, the social media, the pop cultural references that control our society, all right? So that's what these rocks mean. And this is us, right? We're clear, but we're empty. And so we're trying to fill this jar. How can we fill this jar? What can we fill this jar with? Oh, this rock seems pretty strong and sturdy. Maybe I should fill myself with it. And so you start. Okay, that wasn't bad. All right, and you start filling yourself with these things, right? And one by one, you keep going, and you find new things, and you're filling yourself up with this stuff that you think is gonna fill you up. It's like, oh, this is good, this is strong, you know? If I hit someone with this, it'll hurt. That's pretty strong, right? And you're gonna keep filling yourself up every single day and throughout the week. There's Sunday and Friday. You're gonna fill yourself up. You're gonna go to work. You're just gonna live your life. You're gonna feed your kids. Kids are gonna go to soccer camp or whatever they go. They're gonna do art worship, and they're gonna sleep. They're gonna go on their phones, right? And you're filling this up. You're filling this up, and you eventually stop. It's Friday, and then you're done. But if you look at this, is this completely full? Yes. There's still space inside this, right? There's still space inside this jar. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm a little empty, but it's okay. I'm going to church tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sabbath. So I'm going to church, and I'm going to ask God to fill me up. I feel this emptiness, so I'm going to ask God to fill me up. And so this water represents God, right? So we've come to church like today. And we ask him to fill him up, and he does. He's a merciful God. Just because you have stuff in your jar does not mean he's going to prevent himself from giving you his love, right? And so he does this. He fills you up on the Sabbath. You know, worship is great. The kids did so good. They practiced so hard. The sermon was amazing. The potluck was so good. And you're filling it up, and you're filling it up, and you're filling it up. And you're like, okay. And you've completely filled it up at the end of the week. What I want you guys to realize that this looks full, but this is a false sense of fulfillment. This is faking it, right? It looks full right now, but when you truly give yourselves to God, when you give everything that you have to him, he gently takes one rock at a time and he takes it out of your life. One rock at a time, he takes it off and he forgives you and you atone for your sins, right? And as he does that, you start to realize that you're a lot emptier than you think. As he keeps taking things away from you, as he keeps taking the sin and forgiving you and blessing you with amazing things, he's taking all this stuff, all this junk that the world gives us, all this bad, dusty, grummy, dirty rocks, he takes it off. He takes it all out. And then by the end of the Sabbath, if you've given your all, is a jar full? No, it's not even close. It's barely half full, right? And you realize that, I wasn't completely fulfilled. You know, after God takes all this stuff, you were not completely filled with God. You had other stuff inside it. If you've ever fasted or if you haven't eaten for a long time, after you fast and you try to eat, you find that you can't eat as much as you did before. It's kind of hard because your stomach shrinks. It's kind of the same reason. If you fill yourself up with all these rocks throughout the week and you come to church, God physically, literally cannot fill you up completely, right? Just like how this jar is only half empty, if you fill your up before throughout the week and come here expecting to be completely full, you won't be because you fasted. Your spirit has shrunk. Your space in your life in your jar has shrunk. But if you start, all right, next week happens. You start with this, right? And instead of adding in extra rocks, you keep going, right? You don't stop worshiping. You give every single day to God, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the next week comes, right? And the next week comes and you come to church. You're like, oh, okay, all right? God, I'm still not full yet. Completely fill me. And he does. And he fills you up. And now you're completely full. There is no space, there is no air pockets in this water. There may be some, scientifically. But like, for the analogy, right, this is completely full, all right? This is completely full. When you give everything to God every single day, when you give all that you have every single day, God can fill you up completely. And even if you think that you're filling yourself up with things, even if you think these earthly things are filling you up, you realize that when God takes it away, you're half full. You're nowhere close. You're completely empty. There's still so much that God can fill you up with. But if you allow God to completely fill you up, this emptiness that you have, this craving that you have, this hunger that you have, God's going to be able to completely fill you up at the end of the week on the Sabbath day. Right? Or like this empty jar. We look for things to fill ourselves up with, and we're always looking for ways to satisfy ourselves, to satisfy this craving, to satisfy this emptiness. And today, all of you guys have come here to satisfy a craving, whatever it is, whether it's truly to worship God and connect with God, whether it's to see your friends at church, whether it's to eat the potluck. You guys have all come here because of your cravings. We all act according to our cravings. Whatever it is, we act according to what we can satiate our cravings with. So I want to ask you guys, what are you hungry for? What are you hungry for? You're starving. What are you hungry for, right? Do you feel empty? Do you feel a constant need to fill your body with something? And what are you trying to fill yourself up with? Are they the rocks that'll fill you up kind of halfway? Every day we're trying to fill our empty stomachs with food. And every day children are learning. And every day we're breathing. And every day we're drinking. Every day we are starved and we deprive ourselves of we began starved and deprived of our daily necessities. And so we do these things to satiate them. But why is it that so many people starve themselves of the most important necessity? Why do so many of us starve ourselves of spirit throughout the week and then come to church wanting food? Why do we do that? If you've ever, if you've ever fasted, your stomach shrinks and you can't eat anymore, right? If you starve yourself of the Spirit, you realize that you can't be full anymore. If you've been filling yourself with a bunch of rocks, things of this world throughout the week, and then on Sabbath you come to church, the Spirit cannot fully fulfill you. It can't, because God's not going to force it out of you. He's going to do it. He's going to do your job. He's going to do exactly what you asked. But you have to realize that what you've done is preventing God from fully fulfilling you. Only when we empty ourselves, when we begin with a clean slate, if I had started with no rocks and then I poured my water in, if we completely empty ourselves for God and fill ourselves every single day with His love, His Spirit, when we give our whole being and our entire lives to God, will we be able to be fully satiated and fully full from our emptiness. Only when you sacrifice your entire living self to God will you truly become full. That's the only way. At church, there's so many ways to do this. There's so many ways and so many complicated ways, but I'm going to teach you a very simple way to do it. And I practiced this this past year, and I did it. It deals with your 5 senses: touch, taste, sight, hear, smell. All right? And this is a homework for you, so I want you guys to listen. I want you guys to do this. If you want to write notes, write your notes. But this is what I want you guys to do, all right? This is a practice. This is how you can become a living sacrifice. This is how you can worship God and give yourself every single day, all right? So, according to these 5 senses, touch, taste, sight, hearing, smell, I want you guys to say thank you every single day for at least one thing that you touch, that you taste, that you see, that you hear, and that you smell. All right? Don't just say, thank you for this food, all right? I'll give you some examples. God, thank you that I can feel the water in my shower. Do you see the difference? God, thank you for my ability to taste my breakfast. God, thank you for helping me see the sky. God, thank you for allowing me to hear my alarm go off. God, thank you for allowing me to smell the shampoo that I'm putting on my hair, right? Find a way to directly connect yourself with the things that God has given you. By doing this, you are recognizing that everything you feel is done because of God, right? God didn't just give you food. He allowed you to taste it, and it tastes good. God didn't just give you the shower to make you feel clean, or God didn't just give you the shower for you to look at. He allowed you to feel it. He allowed you to feel clean after a shower. That's amazing, right? God didn't just give you light. God didn't just give you a new day. He gave you a new day for a new opportunity for you to worship him and give everything that you have. He gave you the ability to see the sky, to see the stars, to see the moon that he's created. He gave you that ability to connect directly with what he created, an essence of what God is. We see it all around us. The trees, the stars, the moon, the sun, the people around us, our families. They're a small essence and part of what God is, and God allowed you to connect with that. So let's try to connect with it. Let's try to give all our senses, taste, touch, smell, hearing, sight, give it all to God. Give thanks to God, right? Because God wakes up every single day, and he provides us with an opportunity to commune with him, to connect with him, to relate with him. The things of this world will never satisfy you, no matter how many short video content you consume, no matter how much attention you get, no matter how big your pride grows. Whatever the world offers is never, ever, 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 ever going to be enough. But I know someone who is enough, and you know someone who's enough. Someone who is actually more than enough. I still have water left in this jar. I could overfill this jar. Someone who's more than enough. I know a way we can be satisfied. We can give our lives to God. We can give your lives as a sacrifice to God, to bow down, stumbling, saying that you are nothing. Worship him. Worship him in a posture of submission. Because true worship and proper worship is to give our all to God. The only way to give all our worship and lives to God is the only way we will ever feel, we will never feel empty. Because giving our all to God leads to complete satisfaction. Giving our all to God every single day, giving thanks, connecting with God is the only way you will fully, truly feel satisfied. Church, I want you guys to do this. I want you guys to practice this. Connect with God's creation. Connect with God. Don't just say thank you. Think about how you can connect with the things that God has given you. If you have food on the table, you don't just look at it, right? Does looking at the food help you? No. You eat it, you consume it, you take it in, you connect with it, you touch it, you taste it. Let's do the same thing with God. Let's connect with it. Let's touch it. Let's hear it. Let's smell it. Let's feel it. God will completely fulfill you if you do that. If you're able to connect with God, you realize that you're not full, and God will fill you up. So today I really want you guys to think about, why do I feel empty? Why am I hungry? Why do I have this craving? Why am I not satisfied? Give thanks to God, worship him in complete submission, because giving your all is the only way you guys, us humans, will ever feel fully satisfied. Let's pray. God, you are so good. We recognize that you are the same God. You are the same God that gives us eternal mercy and this eternal forgiveness. God, we want that. We want you. We want to connect with you. We want to consume you, consume everything that you've given us and created for us. Everything that you've given us, we want to connect with it. We want to give you our all our five senses. We want to touch you. We want to feel you. We want to taste the food that you've given us. We want to smell you. We want to see you, God. I pray that this church today is truly able to connect with you and truly able to submit their entire lives to you and give everything that they have to you, to be a living sacrifice as a form of true and proper worship. God, we love you, and thank you for this mercy that you've given us. Thank you for allowing us to worship. And as we go on with our day, help us to never forget that you are all around us. That it's so easy to connect with you, God. Open our hearts so that we can be a living sacrifice to you, and that we will be forever satisfied and never feel empty.